haven't been able to meet in the church physically since March 11th. But the youth of Faith Community Church have been very active through many different means. Tonight, I just want to say that Mark and I are not the face of Faith Community's church youth group. And over the next few weeks, we want to introduce you to some of those faces.
Tonight, starting out with the first one, will be Emily Brown.
We're getting to know Emily Brown tonight. Emily, welcome. How you doing?
Pretty good. How are y'all?
Oh, I'm great.
Yeah, fantastic.
So what have you been up to today?
Today I worked from 12 to 6 and at the snowball place. It was actually pretty busy. We made a good amount today.
So what's the name of the place where you're making the snowballs? Go ahead and plug your place of business.
Sweet Southern Snowballs.
Sweet Southern Snowballs.
They came to church that time, this last summer, I think.
Okay. So is that like a play off of SSS?
Yep. Yes, actually. Oh my gosh. I was at school one day and I told my teacher I was going to work there, and she actually, I didn't even think about that. That was like Triple S. So every time I tell her that, I'm like, I'm going to work at Triple S.
What is your favorite flavor at Sweet Southern Snowballs?
My favorite is the Polar Punch and pink lemonade. There's banana pudding, and it has banana and like the French vanilla, and then you put cream on top. It's good.
What has been the hardest change during this COVID situation right now for you?
Well, I mean, senior year has kind of ended like March the 15th, something like that. I mean, I would rather have everything canceled except graduation. Right now, I don't know if we're even gonna have a graduation. But like, I know the senior trip was canceled to Florida, and the prom was canceled. But honestly, that's fine. I just want to have graduation. But it's still, I mean, it's not fine. But if I had to do anything, I would much rather have the graduation. So it's probably just like senior year and not knowing that, not even realizing that this would ever happen, obviously, to anybody, but just have to deal with it.
Yeah, that's tough, and we feel for you there. I mean, that's terrible. Has anything positive come out of the whole COVID-19 quarantine shutdown that you've noticed?
I mean, for me, I've gotten a lot of work done at my house and like homework and stuff. I mean, we've like pressure washed my house, and we've been really productive. So that's good. One good thing. I mean, we've spent a lot more family time, like just me and my brother and my mom, and then my grandparents too. So that's a really good thing about it.
And you all are naturally close anyway. Your cousins especially. I mean, y'all are always together over at your grandparents' house and things like that. So, yeah, I imagine y'all got even more time together. Which is probably pretty important for you all that like to spend time together anyway. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, definitely.
So what have you, if anything, have you missed the most during quarantine life?
Probably, it's bad to say, but like while I was in school, I wanted to graduate, but now I want to go back to school. Because like, I didn't get to say bye to my teachers and like the friends that I did see in school. We just kind of left. Like it just ended there. My see you tomorrow was not a see you tomorrow.
Oh.
But like, which that's kind of sad, but I just miss being in school. Like the routine of getting up and going and having to go. Kind of miss it now.
I like that. That was actually a pretty powerful statement right there. I mean, when your see you tomorrow is not your see you tomorrow, that's gonna become a sermon. I'm positive of that.
Just this whole season of life with disappointments of graduation, uncertainty with the whole COVID situation, what do you think God is trying to teach you right now?
I think to definitely slow down, because while we're in school, we're always going and doing our homework and thinking like we had no time to read the Bible and no time for God. But now it's so different. Like we have so much time to read the Bible and like pray a lot more than we used to. Not that like we didn't have time then, but we just have a lot more now. I just think God is saying like slow down because now like there's so many things that's like bad going on, and so it's so important to read the Bible and like draw closer to God during this time.
Currently reading any like Christian literature other than the Bible, or listening to any Christian podcast, or favorite like Christian motivational YouTuber or anything like that that's kind of helping you supplement your reading and your prayer?
I mean, I do like write down what I read like each time because I never used to do that, and now I just want to like write it down, and so I can go back. Like if we talk about it one day in youth, I can say, "Oh yeah, I remember that," and I could like go back to it because it's written down.
You said you're listening to Christian music. Who are like your top 3 Christian artists right now?
Oh, Elevation Worship, Lauren Daigle, and Corey Asbury.
That's some strong choices. Good stuff.
Good.
One of your favorite foods is what?
Chicken tenders.
Nice. And how many did you eat in one sitting?
27.
Whoa, that's a lot.
Wow.
Yes.
Like that's disgusting.
So Emily, how would you describe yourself?
Okay, I'm basic.
Emily, you're not basic. You are a high quality young woman. We thank God for you. Just keep doing what you're doing.
Absolutely. And please keep all of our seniors in high school in your thoughts, in your prayers. They are going through just a tough time, not being able to be with their friends, not realizing how much they would miss school, and the possibility of not being able to walk across the stage and graduate. So Emily and seniors class of 2020, which feels very weird saying class of 2020, but class of 2020, we are thinking about you and praying for you that you get through all of this, and you will get through this, hopefully sooner rather than later. So hopefully everyone learned something about Emily Brown tonight, or Emmy Brown to those of us that feel weird calling her Emily. And we certainly did learn some stuff about her that was very interesting, to say the least.
So we learned a lot about Emmy, and from one great young lady to another.
Absolutely.
We're about to go into a conversation we recently had with Miss Kayla Daniels. A lot of good stuff in here.
Yeah, very interesting, very insightful, with Kayla going through some things herself that are not COVID-19 quarantine related necessarily, but just as life-changing and very inspirational message that she gives with that. So thank you, Kayla.
But we're here today with Kayla Daniels. Kayla, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing great.
Good.
Always good to talk to Kayla. Kayla is a person I have a lot of respect, admiration for. Went on a trip with her this summer. We were all there in Guyana. Yeah. And when people can take the heat, and they can take the bug bites, and they can take hurting their back and not complain, that's my kind of people.
That's the truth. I mean, honestly.
Yeah. In more ways than one. Yeah. Take not just the weather heat, but
the heat.
Yeah, in general.
The literal heat, yeah. You take that.
But yeah, Kayla did awesome, and so we're gonna have her here tonight because why not?
Yeah, why not?
I remember the first trip I went on with Kayla was 2010. It was a Friends Forever trip to Montego Bay, Jamaica. What do you remember about that trip, Kayla?
That trip, so there's a couple of different things. For that trip, I remember that we went to an orphanage back, Lord, I was probably 9. But we went to an orphanage, and there were people, all sorts of people, people my age, older, babies. It just didn't really matter, and they were all there, and it really just kind of broke my heart a little bit to see that. And that's one of the most memorable things because of just how hard it was to see and to realize like that is there. But also, I do remember, I think it was our last night there. We were able to just all sit around in our hotel room and just be able to talk and debrief about the whole trip, and kind of what it meant to us and how it affected us. And I really do cherish those moments because those are the moments where it kind of brings all of us a little closer together.
Yeah, absolutely. And I believe you were talking about West Haven Home for Disabled Children. And
Yes.
yeah, I've talked about that place in youth several times. It's a difficult place, but it always amazes me how those kids they're always overcoming.
West Haven, it's just the kids are always happy there. It just doesn't really matter. They're always super appreciative just to see you and have your time and your just response to what they're going through.
Yeah, so I've never been to Jamaica. Always gone to Guyana with Guyana Hope, and um, so I've not experienced all those places that you guys have in Jamaica. But how do you feel like Jamaica going on that mission trip at a young age for the first time, kind of transitioned and prepared you for Guyana?
It really just exposed me to what's out there. Being able to go and being so fortunate to be able to go at such a young age, it really did expose me to just the different things other than just what we're used to. And we are very fortunate in the United States. But I think we're also a little spoiled, and that's a little hard for some people to hear. But to see that transition from being here and living here and seeing that in other places, it really just kind of opened my eyes up to that and what else is out there.
Yeah, absolutely. I think spoiled is, you say it's hard for people to hear. I think it's needed for people to hear that what they have is a luxury, not a necessity a lot of times, and their wants are not necessarily their needs. So I like that. I was privileged enough to be on that trip when you went to Guyana for the first time. And one of the things that really stood out to me is I came back and I was kind of telling Jason, even back then, and other people, that I felt like you did probably better than anybody on the trip at a young age of understanding the ministry side of it, and understanding the relation part of it, of meeting kids and just getting out there and playing with them when everybody else was hot and under the shelter and learning dominoes. You were still out on the field playing soccer with them or trying to teach them wiffle ball and everything else we were doing. So what are some of your memories of that first trip that kind of stand out to you?
So, like you said, there, I remember this one field that we went to, and there were these benches, and it was very hot. But it was all just about everybody was out there. Either they were playing cricket, there was a spot for soccer, there was a spot for people just to hang out and just to sit down. And I think for that, it was just being able to remember that, and that has kind of led me to be able to understand kind of the ministry world, just because it is about connecting. But that is one of those big memories that I have. And my other memory from that trip, my other big memory would be, I think it was our last night there together. And we were able to go upstairs. We have a Bible study house that we stay in. And on the upstairs floor, it's an open, like it's got a stage and everything. Really just a platform. But we were able to all go up there, and they were able to do a full night service. And we were able to go up there and just be able to praise and worship and just take that time to really appreciate and cherish the week we had and to kind of say our goodbyes. And that's one of those moments that just kind of will always probably stick with me, because it's just one of those moments that really kind of hit me hard. And it was like, this is like, we're leaving from this scenario, but like, it's a hard goodbye.
And that's a real good point. And I've got a friend who has made the comment before that when you leave a country, those people don't exist anymore. Now, obviously, we know that's not true, but a lot of people don't act like that's not true. And one thing you did that really impressed me, as still a high school student, you brought Christmas to Guyana. So, what would you like to share about the thought process of that coming to be and how that happened?
Well, that's one of my favorite memories ever, probably going there. But leading up to it, I know I just was in a place where I felt like I was being called to do something. I just didn't know what it was. And now I'm learning to walk through it a little more humbly. But it was a thing that I knew that I needed to do something more for my faith to grow and to walk in my faith and my own faith. And what's crazy is I didn't even realize this till about a year ago. I went back and looked at it. And I saw a journal that I keep a journal. I write down stuff, whether it's like a prayer journal or just a daily journal that I have. I'll write down things. And I remember I went back and read this one. And about a month or 2 months before I talked to Pastor Dave about going on this trip, I had written down that, like, please lead me in the right direction. Please put me on the right path. And I was like, I want to be able to do something, whether it's go to Guyana and go to Guyana during Christmas and just be able to spread toys and spread the gospel that way, or whether it's helping people out here in whatever way I can. But I remember going back and reading that, and I was like, that's the confirmation that I needed. Like, I was being spoken to in that moment before even realizing I was being spoken to go and do something that's greater than me.
Yeah, so that's really mature at decision to do that and to kind of be the selfless, take time away from your, I don't know, holiday season, Christmas break, and that type thing of just being able to do whatever you want to for a couple of weeks and go there. I know you don't see it as sacrifice because you love being there, but and I agree with you. I think, but it is a sacrifice at that time where you have a couple weeks off of school and you can just do nothing and relax, and you take time to go there. So that I always thought, when we first heard about that you and Robin and Megan and everybody was going to put that together and do that with Pastor Dave, that was always pretty cool to me.
And after that, you graduated, right?
Yeah, so I went on that trip in December, and then I came back, and it was my senior year. I graduated after that trip, which is a little crazy to think about, because, I don't know, it's a little scary.
What were your plans coming out of graduation and heading to college?
So, my plans were to go to UNC Charlotte, which is where I'm at right now, and go to nursing school. I started that plan 2 years into high school. I think I was a sophomore. No, I was a junior. I was a junior when I started taking college classes, and I went into college as a sophomore, almost a junior standing, so I could kind of graduate early, go into nursing school, become a nurse, and then after I graduated, I was going to go to graduate school and become a nurse practitioner. So those were the plans.
And those were great plans. I mean, I remember I had you helping me with some medical stuff in Guyana 2019. But tell us about the 2019 trip. That's that's becoming kind of like a trip of legend right now. It was a pretty good year.
It was. That was actually a really good year. That year taught me a lot. Not realizing, looking back on it now, I think I learned more than I thought I was going to. That was a trip of growth, of spiritual growth, of emotional growth, of everything. Being able to go, I think that was one of the first trips where I was able to feel truly connected in every aspect, in every way. Just because I think I really was able to branch out. I kind of got not comfortable, but I was able to really realize just everything that was going on and be able to talk to people. And I still have people that I'll reach out to every now and then, just to talk to and say hey. But yeah, that's one of the trips that I kind of took to heart the most. I made the most relationships. I was able to connect on a deeper level. And I really do. I appreciate that trip more than anything.
Yeah, we joke all the time about you can't really say you have a favorite trip because you can't diminish the other trips you were on, but there's those that do stick out for different reasons more than others, and that one is one I think that we could all agree that was pretty special. Lots of great things happened in such a short time there, and I believe that those in Queenstown would agree with us and express that same sentiment. So I think you are right on with that feeling.
Yeah, and you did so wonderful on that trip. 2020 was coming up, and unfortunately, Robin Benson wasn't able to travel with us this year. We would have missed you, Robin. Would have. But how did you feel at like 19, 20 years old? You're getting ready to coordinate VBS for a ton of people. That was a pretty big task, but you seemed more than up for it.
It was. Not gonna lie, it was. But finding out, so for those of you that don't know, Robin helped, and Robin is amazing at coordinating these trips. But she wasn't able to go. And after hearing that she wasn't probably going to be able to go, I started thinking, I was like, who's going to put it together? So knowing that Robin wasn't probably going to be able to go, I started wondering what that meant for the trip, what that meant for the people there, and just everything. And after being asked to start planning, start thinking about trying to plan it, I was overwhelmed, but in a good way. It was overwhelmed with just happiness and just gratitude and, being grateful for the opportunity because it doesn't come around a lot. And honestly, I felt more than ready to do it. That's kind of where my next steps in life, it's kind of been based off of that and from that, because I just think that has taught me so much, just being able to plan it. And for those of you that don't know, the 2020 trip did get canceled as of for now, till a later date, till all this stuff goes away. But that's okay. Even that, learning that and going through that process, it really has taught me how it's not about me. It's not about who plans the trip. It's not about what we do when we're there. It's just about being humble in your walk and your faith. And that's a big lesson that I've learned from this. But yeah, I would say just having and being so grateful for the opportunity just to come around, and being asked, even though it's not about me, it's still, I'm very thankful because I see that may be my next path. That may be my next step or my next calling in life. I think we're all on the stepping stone of like, what's next? Like, we can do this, but like, what's next? And it's like, I feel like that's where I'm being called. Because I like to be very detailed, and that's somewhere where it helps a lot. So it really was a blessing to be asked and to be able to help in that organization. So very happy about it.
You were speaking about next steps. Could you elaborate for us what those next steps may be?
Yes. So let's just preference this. So I was at school, planning to go to nursing school. We all try to have a plan for ourselves. I think that can get us in trouble from time to time because it's not about our plan, but it's about God's will. And I think we forget that sometimes. And I think I am learning that recently. I applied to nursing school and did not get in. But that's okay because there's a catch. Usually people by that time are like, oh, I'm so sorry. And it's like, we're all good. No hard feelings. because I didn't get in, but I had made up my mind about what was going to happen and why. So that story is kind of a very recently. I found out a little less than a month ago, and I kept telling myself, well, if I don't get in, having all aspects and hopes of getting into the nursing program and pursuing that path and that dream, they're still in the back of my mind. I started to question it. Started to question it a lot. I was sitting in class one day. I remember I was sitting in class and I had my computer pulled up and I was like, I can't do this. I texted my mom. I said, I'm going to have to call you and you're just going to have to talk me off because I can't do this. It's not for me. I think I may want to drop out of school. Like, I don't think school's for me. I don't know why I'm even doing nursing. Like, what am I doing? Please help me. It's like, please explain. So I called her, and she obviously talked me off the ledge and was like, yeah, you're going to stay in school, which I am very happy she did. But I ended up finding out about nursing school. So they told me no, and through email. But I already told myself, I said, if I don't get in, I know why. There's a reason why I'm going to go to teaching school, elementary ed. And that realization was very, like, it's this or that for me. It was like, if I don't get in, I'm going to retry. Even though I could have, and it would have been perfectly fine. A lot of people don't get in. And for those people that do, and those people that reapply, like, applauds to them because it's a lot of work. But I told myself, which is crazy, so I told myself 2 hours before I found out. I was talking to a friend of mine, and I said, look, if I don't get in, I'm going to go to teaching school. And I know why. Like, that's where I'm supposed to be if I don't get in. And there will be no hard feelings. I'm comfortable with it. I've made my decision. I'm happy about it. So, got the email and was obviously very upset when it came out. And I was like, okay, like, it hit a little hard. But then that night, I sat there. I said, I know what my decision is. I know what I have to do and what I want to do. But it's obviously hard to admit because you plan and you plan and you plan, and then plans get changed. And I think I've learned that it's okay if plans change because ultimately they're not your plans. They're not your plans to make. You can try and make them all day long. They probably won't work out. Hate to tell it to you. But it's okay because there's always a point in life where you know what should happen, and it's just about sticking to that and submitting yourself fully to that and being able to really sit down and say, okay, this is it. So that was it. So now, no longer in nursing. I switched to elementary education, and I'm very happy about it.
Well, thank you for sharing that. That's kind of big to put that out there. And we were privileged. You hope I'm not spilling any secrets. You let me and Mark know that a few weeks ago.
Oh, no.
And just when you did, it just made me think of, Proverbs 16:9. We can make our plans, but the Lord determines our steps.
Yes.
And, it's awesome you're figuring that out as early as you are.
Yeah, I think I'm learning slowly, but we're learning. We're all learning just at our own pace. And I think that it is. We can all have a plan, and I think it's great. I don't think anybody should go away from this and say, oh, I'm getting rid of all my plans. I'm going to have no more plans. Because if you do that, you're probably not going to go very far. But if you have plans set, it's okay if they change. Because at the end of the day, it's not in your power, but it's in God's. Only God has the will to do that. Only God has the will to make those things work out, but it's all in His best interest and in your best interest to walk that path and to walk that way and in that faith with Him.
So we're gonna ask this question of everybody, and it's one that could be very personal. So feel free to elaborate and share as much or as little as possible as you want to. No pressure. But what in this season of your life, what do you think God is teaching you or telling you right now?
It is. It's a deep one. For me, it is about walking humbly and not being about myself, and just having to walk that path and truly being able to commit, and just to commit to everything, whether it be, reading my Bible every night or being able to keep up with praying. It can be hard, and you can say, oh, I don't want to do it anymore, or I'll just put it off for one night, because I've found that when I'm immersed in reading or in prayer, it's when I feel the closest. And it is hard to keep up with, but I think if we try to make an effort, then it gets better and it gets easier, because we get more invested and we want to know more and we want to seek more. And I think that's kind of what the season is all about for me. It's about seeking. It's about finding the good in everything. And it's been difficult. There have been not great news. And then there's been amazing news. But yeah, a lot's gone on. So for me personally, as you'll know, the whole major change, my life did a 180 on a lot of different areas. But in this season, I've learned that it's okay that those changes have come. It's okay that everything didn't work out the way I planned, because it's all about just being able to understand that it's not your will and it's not your way. So yeah, that's definitely been mine. It's been a lot to learn, but we're slowly learning it. And I would challenge everybody also to ask that question to yourself. What is God telling you to do this season? Because he may be telling you to do something and you don't even realize it, because you may not be listening. But if you truly anchor in and you listen and try and just really hold on to that, then I think you'll really figure out what God's pointing you to for this season.
Well, Kayla, thank you for your time. There's a lot of wisdom in what you've said. Just glad to know you.
Thank y'all so much. You're the best.
Kayla, thank you for your willingness to serve and just the willingness to share with us tonight. That's a brave thing to do.
Yeah, and great insight there from such a young lady, Kayla Daniels, to remind us that we can have a plan, but God's going to order our steps.